Greetings, everybody. My name is Shane, and I would like to welcome you to the very first episode of Storyline Time. Here on Storyline Time, our featured storytellers bring to you their biggest, their baddest, their boldest ideas, their stories, their predictions for WWE booking of the past, the present, and future. And today's episode is brought to you by me. Again, my name is Shane, and today's story is about the curious case of Cesaro and the Intercontinental Championship. Now, before we get started with today's story, I'd like to bring everybody up to speed with what has happened since the night after WrestleMania 32. On the night after WrestleMania 32, the Swiss Superman known as Cesaro returned to the WWE. He joined Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens in a fatal four-way to determine the number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Unfortunately, Cesaro came up short, but he put on a strong showing, letting the WWE Universe know that there is nobody like him, nobody like the King of Wrestling. The week after on Monday Night Raw, we had seen a fantastic number one contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship, as Cesaro faced Kevin Owens one-on-one to determine the number one contender for Miz's Intercontinental Championship. And at the end of the match, the Swiss Superman came out victorious and will now be facing The Miz at Payback for the Intercontinental Championship. So with that said, let's dive into today's story, the curious case of Cesaro and the Intercontinental Championship. As we know, in the weeks following WrestleMania 32, Shane McMahon has been running Raw thanks to Mr. McMahon and overwhelming social media support. So we're going to keep that up. Shane McMahon is going to be running Raw for the foreseeable future based on ratings. Well, as we know, the ratings aren't too great, but we're going to say that the ratings have been high. The social media support has been through the roof, so Vince McMahon has no choice but to keep it up. His son, his seed, Shane McMahon will be running Raw, and he has put some things into place. And it regards WWE's two mid-card titles, the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. Shane McMahon announces that the United States Championship has now become a Raw exclusive championship, and the Intercontinental Championship has become a SmackDown exclusive championship. Now you may be asking, how can he do this? He only controls Raw. Well, Shane McMahon struck an agreement with WWE's board of directors, and he wants to make WWE great again. That's why he came back. He wanted to make Raw great. So he wants to make the WWE great as a whole. So Shane McMahon strikes a deal with the board of directors to allow Raw to get the United States Championship and SmackDown to get the Intercontinental Championship. The ultimate goal is to make WWE must-see TV. So that's why they're splitting up the championship titles, while the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is still the top prize. Now, in order to make WWE more must-see TV, the Intercontinental Championship must be defended on SmackDown once a month, while the United States Championship must be defended on Raw once a month. And one more thing, if the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion holds their title for 6 straight months, they automatically earn a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This is going to be very, very important, because if a superstar grabs the Intercontinental Championship or if they grab a United States Championship, they're going to want to hold on to that title with all of their might so they can get an automatic bid at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So as we know, Cesaro defeated Kevin Owens on Raw to earn the number one contendership for the Intercontinental Championship at Payback. We fast forward to Payback, and it is time for the Intercontinental Championship match, The Miz versus Cesaro. Now, we know recently that The Miz has had his wife Maurice in his corner. So when it comes to the match, Cesaro dominates. He dominates The Miz. He takes him to his limit. And it looks like Cesaro is about to beat The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. But wait a second. The Miz's wife Maurice gets up on the apron, distracts Cesaro, and costs him the match. The Miz grabs Cesaro by the head and gives him skull-crushing finale 1, 2, 3 to retain his Intercontinental Championship. So the next night on Raw, Cesaro is looking for redemption. Now, if you remember from WrestleMania, Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship, but lost the next night on Raw to The Miz thanks to Maurice. They're both looking for redemption. They both want another shot at the Intercontinental Championship. So, Shane McMahon puts the match into place. Cesaro versus Zack Ryder for the number one contendership for the Intercontinental Championship at Extreme Rules. And Cesaro walks away the victor. Now for Zack Ryder, this may be disappointment, but in the weeks ahead, he's going to get hyped. He's going to get real hyped because Mojo Rawley comes up to the main roster. But that's another story for another time. So at Extreme Rules, The Miz does everything in his power to make sure Cesaro does not walk away the Intercontinental Champion. He uses paparazzi, he uses cameras, he uses his sunglasses, he uses his wife Maurice, pretty much everything except his wrestling ability to try to beat Cesaro. But it's not going to work this time. Cesaro defeats The Miz at Extreme Rules for the Intercontinental Championship. Following Extreme Rules, Cesaro defends that Intercontinental Championship and holds on to that thing like it is his own child. Week after week, month after month, Cesaro successfully defends the Intercontinental Championship against any and all challengers on the brand of SmackDown. You'll have The Miz, Zack Ryder, Sin Cara, Kalisto, Neville. The names go on, but there is one man that he doesn't defend against, and we're saving that name for later on in the video. So the title reign goes on, and Cesaro has held on to the Intercontinental Championship for over 6 months. So around this time, it'll be December of 2016, and Cesaro has earned himself a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. We're going to say the champion is Seth Rollins. I want to think he comes back. I think he gains the WWE World Heavyweight Championship back in his possession following his return. However, I'm not going to have this match take place at TLC. Instead, it's going to take place on Main Event. That's right, I said Main Event. I want to build Main Event back up as a big show. We're going to move Main Event back to Saturday nights. It's going to take place once a month, where contenderships are decided, where championship matches take place, and some feuds are even started. So Cesaro versus Seth Rollins takes place following TLC on Main Event. And Seth Rollins and Cesaro go all out. This is a pay-per-view quality match that happens for free on the USA Network. But unfortunately for Cesaro, he cannot beat Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins retains the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this isn't all bad news for Cesaro. Even though he earned himself a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship by holding on to the Intercontinental Championship for over 6 months, he does not have to relinquish the title. Even though he lost the match, he is still the Intercontinental Champion. This is where it takes a turn for the worse. Cesaro cannot catch a break. Throughout December and January, Cesaro loses match after match, except one. He does happen to retain the Intercontinental Championship. But after he retains the Intercontinental Championship, he goes back to his losing streak. But the week before the Royal Rumble, Cesaro declares that this is just a rut in the road, and he will end his spell when he wins the Royal Rumble and goes on to face the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, whoever that may be, in the main event of WrestleMania 33. Now Cesaro, come the Royal Rumble, gets in the ring and he dominates. He eliminates people left and right, tallying his elimination total up to 7. Cesaro manages to make it to the final 6, but is eliminated just like that. He does not make it into the final 4, not the final 2. He's eliminated right away when he's in the final 6, and disappointment ensues. Cesaro is angry. He is furious that he could not end his rut in the road by winning the Royal Rumble. So the following SmackDown, following the Royal Rumble, Cesaro comes out in the ring for an Intercontinental Championship defense. But before that, he grabs a microphone and he begins to talk and talk. He wants to tell everybody about his losing streak, about his frustrations, about his hardships. And he blames the fans. He blames the fans as the reason why he has been losing week after week after week. Now, when he came back, he thought the fans were all well and good. They were rallying behind him. They were supporting him. But when he faced Seth Rollins on Main Event, they weren't giving him the support he deserved. And that's why he lost. And after he lost to Seth Rollins on Main Event, he kept on losing and losing and losing because the support he once had was no longer there. So after he lost the Royal Rumble, he came to the realization that the fans were never behind him. And he doesn't need the fans anymore. And he's going to prove that as he defends the Intercontinental Championship week after week, month after month, until he earns himself another shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But this time, he's going to be doing things a little bit differently. He's going to be doing it his way, the Cesaro way. So the weeks following that promo, on the road to WrestleMania 33, Cesaro successfully retains his Intercontinental Championship. But he doesn't pander to the fans, and sometimes he resorts to things that he never would before. He would use dirty tactics, like raking the eyes, low blows, you name it. As WrestleMania 33 approaches, Cesaro has successfully defended his Intercontinental Championship 5 times, all with the use of heel tactics. So, the SmackDown General Manager Kurt Angle, yes, the Kurt Angle. I'm going to take a quick break from the Cesaro story to tell you how Kurt Angle came back to the WWE. I would have Shane McMahon control Raw and bring all this greatness back to the Raw brand. After Shane McMahon has a hefty control of Raw, Triple H returns and takes control of the SmackDown brand. Triple H competes with Shane McMahon to make SmackDown the top brand, and the two men have a full-fledged war over the next few months. The war comes to a head at Survivor Series 2016, when Shane McMahon battles Triple H in the main event of the pay-per-view, where the winner gets control of both Raw and SmackDown. After a tough fight, after a tough match, Shane McMahon walks out the victor and owns both Raw and SmackDown. He controls WWE television. Now, after a few months, Shane McMahon announces that he has sold his share of the SmackDown brand. And the new owner, the new general manager of the SmackDown brand is this man, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle now is the general manager of SmackDown. So let's get back on track here. Kurt Angle makes a match for WrestleMania 33. He says Cesaro must defend his Intercontinental Championship against those 5 men he has beat with his heel tactics. Now Cesaro won't be able to run. Well, technically he could run. He could run up a ladder, because the only way he will be able to get his Intercontinental Championship back is to climb up a ladder and retrieve his Intercontinental Championship, because he is defending the Intercontinental Championship in a 6-man ladder match at WrestleMania 33. So right away in the ladder match, the 5 other participants that are in the match with Cesaro take out all of their anger and all of their frustration on him for what he has done to them and all of the opportunities that he has cost them with the Intercontinental Championship. Now, as the match goes on, Cesaro is brawling on the outside with Apollo Crews. And unfortunately for Cesaro, he gets caught up in a dangerous position as Apollo Crews delivers his sit-out powerbomb to Cesaro through an announcer's table on the outside. A few minutes later, Apollo Crews is the sole man in the ring. It's just him and a ladder, with him walking up the ladder about to grab the Intercontinental Championship. He is right there. His fingers are on the championship when all of a sudden you see an arm come up and give Apollo Crews a low blow. Apollo Crews falls off the ladder and up walks Cesaro. Cesaro grabs the Intercontinental Championship and retains his Intercontinental Championship, screwing Apollo Crews out of the Intercontinental Championship once again. So on the SmackDown following WrestleMania 33, SmackDown kicks off with General Manager Kurt Angle in the ring to address the Intercontinental Championship situation from WrestleMania 33. Kurt Angle announces that Cesaro must defend his Intercontinental Championship that night against Apollo Crews. But as soon as he says that, out comes Cesaro. Cesaro announces that due to the spin-out powerbomb that he received through the table, he suffered broken ribs. Cesaro says that due to his injury, doctors have ruled him out of action for exactly 1 month, which would take him out of action until May 2nd, 2017. Now, right after Cesaro says that, Kurt Angle reminds him that if he can't defend that championship within 30 days, he will be stripped of the Intercontinental Championship. But then Cesaro says, hey, Kurt, do the math. From April 2nd, 2017 to May 2nd, 2017, that is exactly 30 days. So on May 2nd, 2017, he will return to SmackDown and defend the Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews. So Kurt Angle makes the match 1 month in advance. Cesaro versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. And to make sure Cesaro doesn't use heel tactics, he makes it a no disqualification match. So on May 2nd, 2017, Cesaro versus Apollo Crews. To have a great match. And Cesaro is about to use heel tactics to win, but the referee catches him. He's about to throw out the match when Apollo Crews lifts up Cesaro, gives him a gorilla press slam, and goes for the moonsault. Apollo Crews hits the moonsault, but Cesaro gets his knees up, covers Apollo Crews, and gets him for the 1, 2, 3. Cesaro has retained the Intercontinental Championship once again. This man cannot be stopped. And he won't be stopped because at Extreme Rules, Cesaro once again defeats his opponent and retains the Intercontinental Championship. And we have an alert. I repeat, we have an alert. Cesaro has successfully retained his Intercontinental Championship for another 6 months. So at Money in the Bank, Cesaro faces the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. In this case, I want to say it's Dean Ambrose. He's at WrestleMania 33. Have Dean Ambrose defeat Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. That, my friends, is another story for another time. So the two have a great match at Money in the Bank. Back and forth, near fall after near fall. When Dean Ambrose is about to hit Dirty Deeds, but Cesaro counters out, hits him with the neutralizer, and the 1, 2, 3. Cesaro has defeated Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Simultaneously, Cesaro is the WWE and the Intercontinental Champion. Of course, Dean Ambrose is owed a rematch, so the two have a rematch at Battleground. Before the match, Cesaro announces that he's going to do anything and everything to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So people are thinking, oh no, here comes the dirty tactics. And of course, Cesaro, he's about to use dirty tactics to beat Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose catches him just in time, nails him, and plants him with dirty deeds, and wins back the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Battleground. So it is now the night after Battleground 2017. Out comes the former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Cesaro. Even though he may have lost the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Cesaro still has the Intercontinental Championship. So on the Raw following Battleground, Cesaro appears and says, even though I may have lost the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, I am still the best wrestler in the entire universe, and I am the Intercontinental Champion. And to prove I am, I'm going to successfully defend the Intercontinental Championship in a gauntlet match. That's right, a gauntlet match. And successfully retain that title he does. He defeats 3 men within 30 minutes. So that same week on SmackDown, Cesaro announces he's going to defend the Intercontinental Championship once again in another gauntlet. This match goes on forever. It's almost half the show. But around the 40-minute mark, out comes Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn takes Cesaro to his limit. And it looks like Cesaro is going to lose the Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn. But before Sami Zayn can hit that Helluva Kick, Cesaro bows out of the ring and walks to the back. Cesaro loses the match to Sami Zayn, but he lost it via countout. Therefore, he is still the WWE Intercontinental Champion. The next week on SmackDown, out comes Cesaro, and he boasts that he can still retain the Intercontinental Championship against anybody. But Kurt Angle says, hey, not so fast, Cesaro. You're defending that Intercontinental Championship against the man you almost lost it to tonight. You are facing Sami Zayn in the main event. The two tear the house down in the short time they have to put on this match. I'm going to say it's about 10 to 12 minutes. But it seems like Sami Zayn finally has Cesaro in position for defeat. Cesaro once again bows out of the ring before Sami Zayn can give him a haluva kick. This time, Sami Zayn follows suit and pursues Cesaro, trying to get him back in the ring. But before Sami can throw Cesaro back in the ring, Cesaro hits him in the gut with a chair and gets disqualified. Sami Zayn has won the match once again, this time by disqualification. So the next week on SmackDown, Kurt Angle announces, all right, Cesaro, I have had enough. You won't be able to run at SummerSlam because you're going to face Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship. And if you try to get counted out or disqualified, the championship will change hands. In the weeks leading up to SummerSlam, Cesaro has made it clear that he is vying to break the Honky Tonk Man's record of holding the Intercontinental Championship for a record of 454 days. And if he defeats Sami Zayn at SummerSlam, he will officially hold the title for 455 days. That's not the only news that Cesaro announces to the WWE Universe. Cesaro also announces that his contract with SmackDown expires following SummerSlam. So after he defeats Sami Zayn and becomes the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history, he plans to sign exclusively with Raw and defend the Intercontinental Championship exclusively on the brand. Now, if he does this, this is a gigantic blow to SmackDown. If Cesaro jumps ships to Raw, SmackDown will not have any exclusive title because both the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championships will be on Raw. So let's fast forward to SummerSlam. It's time for the Intercontinental Championship. And right out of the gate, in 31 seconds, the same exact time it had taken the Ultimate Warrior to beat the Honky Tonk Man at SummerSlam in 1988, Sami Zayn has defeated Cesaro, earning the first fall. So as the match goes on, Cesaro ties it up at 1-1 when he makes Sami Zayn tap out to the sharpshooter. This match has gone on for over 20 minutes. Both men are exhausted. Both men continue fighting, and they are tearing the house down. But for the third fall, Cesaro gives Sami Zayn a low blow out of the referee's view when Zayn goes for the haluva kick, and he follows it up with a neutralizer to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Even though he cheated to win, it was out of the referee's view, and Cesaro is still the Intercontinental Champion. Cesaro has held on to that title for 455 days. He has broke the record, and now he is moving on to Raw to defend the Intercontinental Championship. So the night following SummerSlam on Monday Night Raw, a contract signing takes place to sign Cesaro to the Raw brand. Before he signs the contract, Cesaro tells Shane McMahon, or whoever the Raw general manager may be at this time, that he will not regret this decision because Cesaro is the Intercontinental Iron Man. So after he signs the contract and the ink dries, Kurt Angle appears in front of a shocked crowd and announces that although Cesaro is now a Raw superstar, he still owes SmackDown a title defense. Because remember, back in April, he couldn't defend the Intercontinental Championship because he was on the disabled list with broken ribs. So tomorrow night, on a live edition of SmackDown, Cesaro will defend the Intercontinental Championship one last time on SmackDown against Sami Zayn. But before Kurt Angle leaves, he has one last piece of news for Cesaro. He's going to be putting that self-proclaimed Intercontinental Iron Man nickname to the test because his match against Sami Zayn will be a 60-minute Iron Man match. So the next night on SmackDown, Sami Zayn and Cesaro do what they do and tear the house down for 1 hour. It's back and forth, and they're entering the final minute with the score being 4-4. With only 30 seconds remaining in the match, Sami Zayn grabs Cesaro and locks him in the Koji clutch. Cesaro does not want to tap. If he can hold on for only 30 more seconds, the match becomes a draw, and he takes that Intercontinental Championship to Raw. We come down to the final seconds as the clock ticks. 10, 9, 8. Cesaro's hand is shaking, waving back and forth with might, trembling. He is trembling. He does not want to tap out. But as the clock hits 2 seconds remaining, Cesaro's hand hits the mat, taps 3 times before the clock hits 0. Sami Zayn has defeated Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship, bringing the title back to the SmackDown brand and ending Cesaro's record-setting reign at 457 days. The two had a hard-fought battle, and at the end of the match, although he may be upset that he lost the Intercontinental Championship, Cesaro and Sami Zayn embrace, ending the Curious Case of Cesaro and the Intercontinental Championship. Please give your comments below. I would love to see your feedback on how you feel about the Curious Case of Cesaro and the Intercontinental Championship. This was episode 1 of Storyline Time, and I hope to see you back for more. My name is Shane, and this was Storyline Time.